Hello and welcome to Yota's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making meatballs and sausage in tomato sauce. And the ingredients, as you can see, chopped meat. It's 93% lean, 7% fat. Sausages, which are sweet and several links hot. I'm going to be adding parsley, garlic, basil, onions, oregano, tomato sauce, pecorino romano, and bread. I don't like using breadcrumbs because it tends to make it a little tougher. It makes the meatball a little tougher. Once I get everything assembled, meaning I chop the onions and the parsley and everything else, I'll show you how to do the sauce and how I'm putting the sausages together. Excuse me, the meatballs together. But in the meantime, I'm going to boil the sausages in some water to get the excess fat out. And I'll show you the next step when I get back. Thank you. Hello and welcome back. I wanted to show you the oregano I'm using. This is Greek oregano, actually from Greece. I bought it at one of the stores down in Queens when I visited the last time. And oregano grows wild in Greece and on the mountainsides, unless you're harvesting to sell. Maybe they have farms, I don't know. But anyway, what I ended up doing is I had to take it off the stems, which are little sticks. You don't want that in your food. So what I'm going to be doing with this is just putting them in the palm of my hand and then rubbing them together to make them smaller, to break them up. And that will be added about a tablespoon and a half, whatever this is. So here we are. It was about 1.5 tablespoons. I'm going to be adding that to the chopped meat. I took 2 pieces of bread, broke it up very small, so then that way I can add it to the meatballs. I find that breadcrumbs just make the meatball harder. And the bread makes it a little lighter and fluffier, so I like that instead. To that, it's the 1/4 of a cup of parsley, 1 tablespoon of garlic. It's about 2 cloves. So 1 tablespoon is a good amount, I think, to give it enough flavor. We have 1/2 cup very finely minced garlic. Onion. I microplaned my pecorino romano. This is 1/2 cup. And I didn't mention eggs earlier, but you need 2 eggs for this. You also need some flour because we're going to be coating the meatballs with flour, frying them. We might need a little olive oil because the chopped meat that I bought is very lean. And because it's lean, I don't want the meatballs to stick, especially since they have flour on them. And I'm also going to add, even though the pecorino romano has salt in it, I think that adding a little salt to this mixture is going to give it a little more flavor. Not a lot, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon, just so that way it's not under-flavored. If you find that it's too much salt for you, don't add it next time. But if you make this recipe and follow it as I have it, I think adding a little salt, not a lot, will give it a little extra flavor, because even though this is 1/2 cup, it's really not a lot of salt. It's not a lot of cheese, so there's not a lot of salt that's going to be in there. And this is 3 pounds of chopped meat, so we want to make sure that it's flavorful. So my sausages are boiling. You see all the fat that's on top of this. They've been boiling for maybe 20 minutes. So it's time for me to turn them off. When I come back, I will show you what I do with them next. So stay tuned. Thank you. Hello, welcome back. As you can see, I have the onions sauteing in some olive oil. I added the garlic, the oregano, and I added the basil. Now, The basil was about 5 leaves and I chopped it up. Basil tends to be bitter, a bitter herb. So I don't like to put as much as I might put oregano, which is sweeter. So once this is sauteed, I'm going to be adding the tomato sauce. I wanted everything to start cooking as I'm frying the meatballs and the sausages. I wanted the sauce to be started and to be at a good temperature, and by the time I add the meatballs to the pot. Now I'm going to be adding 3 cans of tomato sauce, crushed tomato sauce. They're about 28 ounces each. Once I have everything in the pot, if I find that it is not covering the meatballs and the sausages, I might add another can. Because, you know, sometimes the ingredients vary in the packages you get. You're not always going to get exactly 3 pounds of you know, chopped meat, let's say, or a totally 1 pound of sweet sausages or hot sausages. So, you know, if that happens and you find that you're adding everything to the pot and the sausages and the meatballs are not covered, add another can. Once all of this is incorporated, you're going to cook this, the tomato sauce and everything together for about 2 hours. You don't have to cook it for 4 hours or 6 hours like they used to do in the old days, because these cans of tomato sauce, they really cook them down before they even put them in a can. So you don't have to go ahead and cook them for so long. So 2 hours, I think, for everything together will probably give it enough time to fuse together and to give you good taste. So, hello, welcome back. I rolled my meatballs in this flour, and I rolled the rest of them up too, just so I could be ready. That'll make you move a little faster. A tip that I would give you is to clean as you go, because when you're making a big meal like this, the last thing you need is to have 100 pans and 100 bowls. You know, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but you know what you get the point. You don't want to have all that in the sink after you finish making this nice meal, because that'll be even longer for you to, you know, take a break, put your feet up after this, because it's going to take a few hours to put all this together and to be ready. So wash as you go, and when the meal is ready, all you're doing is cleaning up whatever those dishes are and whatever pots and pans are left. But here's my sausages. I boiled them, as you saw. I scored them, took the casing off, cut them about the same size as the meatballs. I want them to kind of be around the same size. And then I'm going to fry them, you know, just to brown them on all sides. And then I'm going to be adding them to the sauce. And then once everything gets going, I'll come back and I'll show you the rest. Thank you. Welcome back. I have my meatballs frying, and I have my sausages frying. And as you can see, they've browned really nicely. So what I'm going to be doing in order to turn my meatballs around, I'm going to be using a spoon. And I use a spoon because it gently rolls it once you get underneath it. And it doesn't really move things around too much. It doesn't break it up. That's what I want to say. So this is not brown enough. So I'm going to let the other ones cook a little bit more before I turn them around. But I wanted to show you where I was in the process right now. So as they brown, I'm going to be sticking them into the pot. So I'm going to be browning them all around. So it's not going to be one-sided, it's going to be all sides. When I have everything added to the pot, I'll be back. Okay, so here are my last meatballs that I have left. And there are my last sausages. I want to show you the pot. So here's the pot of sausages and the meatballs. I haven't stirred it yet, so it could still cover it. But I wanted to show you also all the dishes that I had cleaned associated with this meal as I was going. Now, the tip that I'm going to give you is that if you cannot multitask and you think that if you focus on washing the dishes and you're going to burn your food, focus only on your food, wash everything in the end. After everything's in the pot and it's cooking away, you have 2 hours to catch up. So if you cannot multitask, focus only on your food, not on your dishes, because you want this meal to be fantastic. You don't want to put all this effort in it and then get burnt food, which is going to taste horrible. You're not going to be able to eat it, and it's not going to be worth it. So if you cannot multitask, again, just focus on cooking a good meal. And when everything's in that pot, because you're going to be cooking it an additional 2 hours, then you can wash the dishes and dry them and put them away. So I'll be back when I'm done with everything, meaning the meatballs and the sausages, and they're in the pot, and we'll see if the sauce in there covers it or if I have to add another can of sauce. And then I will come back after that segment when everything is done, and I'll show you the finished product. Thank you. Okay, we're back. Everything fits in the pan or the pot. It's an 8-quart pot. It took about 2 hours for prep and frying it and then adding it to this pot. So I'm going to let it cook for 2 hours, and then probably about an hour into it, an hour and 15 minutes into it, I will put on a pot of water to boil. Once it boils, I'm going to add some salt, and then I'm going to add my pasta. And then once that's cooked, I'm going to come back and I'll show you the end results of everything put together. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Okay, so everything's completed. I added it to a serving dish. I grated the pecorino romano on top, and then I filled up a bowl of rotini that I had made and put a little cheese on that too, but you want to add a little more sauce. So there you go. And then you can serve it on individual plates and serve it to your guests or to yourself or whoever is visiting. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this segment of spaghetti and meatballs with sausages. Have a great day until the next segment.